Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Black Ambition Media. We are here with a quick BLAM news break. We have been talking about this. We did a video a little bit earlier this week. Xavier, Charlie Kirk, a conservative, what would you call him? A conservative commentator. Great. Thank you for giving me that word. A conservative commentator was shot in Utah. So let me read this article from BBC because his killer has been found. This has took the internet by storm, took the world by storm. For some reason, the politicians and this administration that is in place right now has seemed to do things that were a little out of the ordinary, I would say, for somebody of his stature, a commentator. Flags are being lowered. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and pretty much everybody on that side of the country has, said something about what has happened. That was their boy.
Yeah, his casket was escorted by the military and J.D. Vance as well.
Yes, sir.
Even though he didn't serve.
Right.
Like you mentioned, flags all across the country are half-staffed until Sunday, even though he wasn't a national loved politician or a holiday or, like we mentioned, a military veteran.
Right.
So it is seem a little odd that we're just seeing an overwhelming amount of support from both sides for this singular political commentator.
Mm-hmm.
Not to denigrate who he is,
but it's obviously strange that a administration is doing this when we had a congresswoman being killed and her husband.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say. He's not the first person to die this year.
Right. So let me read this article from BBC. A 22-year-old from Utah has been arrested over the killing of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead while on stage at a university event earlier this week. Tyler Robinson was taken into custody late on Thursday after a 33-hour manhunt that ended after his father helped persuade him to surrender to the police. His arrest was first announced by Donald Trump, who called for the suspect to face the death penalty. The killing of Kirk, who was shot while debating students on Wednesday, has shocked Americans and laid bare the country's sharp partisan political division. What was your... Okay. So, like I said, we had talked about this. There's a lot of things going on, Xavier, right now.
Yeah, a lot of things, a lot of thoughts.
A lot of things and a lot of thoughts. I want to steer this conversation before we talk about anything within what was going on prior to Tyler Robinson being captured for this crime. Donald Trump had a message from the Oval Office, and I don't know if it was AI. I really don't. But Donald Trump had a message the night that Charlie Kirk was killed. And during that message, he blamed the left. He blamed the left for the killing of Charlie Kirk, basically saying that the killer, insinuating that the killer and it was planned by the left. And because of their rhetoric and things of that nature, that's the reason why Charlie Kirk was shot. So you're putting that narrative already out on Front Street the first day
from the president
of the United States.
Killer has not been identified.
Mm-hmm.
Political stance has not been identified. But like you mentioned, not only was it Trump, but Elon Musk took to Twitter as well to call the left the party of murder.
Wow.
When yet we have still not been notified of who the killer was. We go and look at the news stations. Fox 40, Jesse Waters is actively calling for the right to stand up against wokeness and the left, when we still have no idea who the killer is, what their motives were, or what political party they were to.
Right.
But we see a lot of those conversations start to hush as of recent.
This is what Nancy Mace, Republican, said prior to the killer being found. This was the same day as well. And I want the audience to hear what narrative was already being pushed before anybody was even, found for this killing. So let me play that real quick.
This shit ends. Enough is enough. And now no safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro-tranny. And just because I want to protect women, that I'm worried about getting murdered? Are you fucking kidding me? It's out of control, and enough is enough. And I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to be more vigilant than ever. I'm going to be louder than I've ever been until this shit stops. It's got to.
Ooh, watch your profanity.
This is also, let me get this, what the mayor of Utah said as well.
That was my favorite one. Because it was so in your face that it's like, how do you not see what's going on?
Right. Let's see. I know I
dang sure got that memorized verbatim.
Happens. This bad stuff happens. And for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And indeed, Utah is a special place.
Someone hand my boy a tissue.
Somebody hand my boy a tissue. It's been very interesting, to say the least, the reaction from Republicans, right-wing conservatives, and Trump supporters today after the killer was announced and released information on him.
Right, like we mentioned, a lot of these conversations about the left being the party of murder have started to cease. We're seeing them trying to find their new escape plan. I'm seeing some people start to blame Israel, saying that Charlie Kirk was starting to steer away from supporting them and being America first, and they wanted to kind of hush him up. I'm not going to sit here and lie that there doesn't seem like a lot of suspicious things going on, but one of the big things I want to highlight from this is the federal government has been looking very, very incompetent as of late.
Yes.
If we're talking the Donald Trump case, Young Thug case, the RICO case, like, even this, if it wasn't for the father and his friend turning in his son, these cops had absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. The internet all yesterday was full of people just saying, wow, they know the same amount as the guy online who just enhanced the picture online with some chat GPT. They just know that he was wearing an American flag t-shirt. And I could tell that before they enhanced the picture. I was like, oh, he look like he got an American flag t-shirt on. I thought it was like an American flag and a gun, but it was just an American flag and a bird. And this just, I don't understand what the masses won't recognize, because when we start to look at the demographic and the makeup of a lot of the violence that is occurring in this country, I don't see how they look at that and still blame immigrants and still blame black people and still blame the LGBT community. Before they announced the killer, I still saw politicians saying that the killer was a transgender. They just say shit because they're allowed to say shit because they don't get checked by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
As we saw, Democrats and Republicans have been on the same exact tip since this has happened. There is no place for political violence in this country. There is no place for political violence in this country. And we see the president of the United States call for the death penalty? Like, is that not violent? Y'all are unserious.
Very unserious.
You don't know what you want. And that's why y'all are so easily manipulated.
Yes.
Sheep.
Well, we know based on the statistics, and I'll get to the statistics on who actually votes for the Republican Party, what that kind of looks like, what the makeup is. It's a very uneducated group that
rich niggas and dumb niggas.
There you go. But this is an interesting tad bit right here that I saw. Tyler Robinson's grandmother, Debbie Robinson, told the Daily Mail today, "My son, His dad is a Republican for Trump. Most of my family members are Republican. I don't know any single one who's a Democrat. That's a very powerful statement from the mother of the shooter. It's been reported, early reports are that Tyler Robinson didn't believe that Charlie Kirk was
Radical
enough on their side.
Which is the case in a lot of these instances. And I think that's the part people have a hard time grasping. They see somebody make a comment or a statement or try to make an act against somebody who is overtly right, or a right-leading conservative politician or commentator. They see that person receive some type of harm, and they just assume, oh, it has to be from the opposite side of the field. It has to come from the people who don't agree with them. But what do the Democrats, or what does the left have to gain from killing Charlie Kirk?
Right.
That just is going to make even more people from the left look at us as violent and over the top and doing too much, and then push people to the right. That just gives the right even more talking points about the left. A lot of the times in these situations, and they will tell you this in their manifestos, because for some reason, school shooters and just killers are like anime villains. They have to give you their whole plan before they do some. Well, in this case, they do it after. But in these manifestos, they cite their inspiration as Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones. In a lot of cases, they say that they have outgrew them. Their beliefs are now not radical enough for them. So who do they go to? Like you said, Nick Fuentes, someone who is an out and about Sig Heilin Nazi. That is the next extreme. And when you're on that extreme of a level, and you're looking at people who say the things, but maybe don't actually walk the walk in real life, because a lot of these niggas are just grifters who say shit for some money, but don't actually stand on that shit because they're just some spineless cowards. When you catch a nigga that's actually about that shit,
this what happens. And I kind of do want to get into why this is racism within itself, but let me double back to your point. You threw the lob, so I'm gonna dunk it in the freaking in the hoop right now. I don't believe, I'm gonna say this again, the Candace Owens of the world, the Ben Shapiros, the Charlie Kirks, even though I do not consume their content, of course, on the internet. If you're on the internet, you're going to see some of the things that they have said and some of the things that they build their audience around. And to me, in my personal opinion, I don't know these people, and I don't care to know these people. I don't believe that some of the things that Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, any of those other conservative people from the left, I do not really believe that they can really believe what they're saying out their mouths. It's not conceivable based on data and facts, some of the things that the conservative right-wing people say that actually makes sense in their mind. And if you're smart just a little bit, you can understand things within the nuance of it. And those people just say stuff to evoke emotion out of people. I do not really believe the things that they say. Now, we said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I do not condone, here at Black Ambition Media, we do not condone a person getting clapped at a college campus.
no. That's insane.
That's insane. I feel like as a country, we are desensitized to murder. Just to have somebody getting clapped on the internet in the manner that he did was horrid within itself. But let's bring it all back to what I just said. I do not believe that a lot of these conservative right-wing people say things because they really firmly believe in that. They really truly believe in that. Unless you're a white man and you have so much racism in your heart, racism overtakes logic in a sense, because to be racist is illogical in my estimation.
Yeah, it's a mental disease.
Because why? My only thing is, why are you obsessed with this certain people? But we do not condone violence at all. Based on the rhetoric that has come out of his mouth, did he not prepare himself for this to happen?
He literally advocated on a daily basis for his own demise. I want to ask you a quick question. With all the animosity we have seen online from politicians and public figures in the news media, calling for the death of Tyler Robinson, calling for the death of the left and the wokeness, how many of these politicians have you seen advocate for gun control? We are all going to sit here and say that we are not a country built on violence. We're not a violent country. We don't stand for people being shot on college campuses. There was also an active school shooting a state over
that same day.
And you don't hear anybody in popular media advocating for gun control. I'm talking Bernie Sanders. I'm talking Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris. We don't see any of these figures. Even if we just want to keep it on the left, we don't see any of these figures advocating for any type of actual systemic change that will stop anything like this from happening again, because they don't give a fuck. They don't care if this happens again, because this is nothing but a talking point to them. There was a clip of Trump. Media came up to him and asked him, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing with the death of Charlie Kirk?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing good. You see those trucks over there?
Yeah, the ballroom.
Yeah, they're fixing up the ballroom.
It's gonna be one of the best
It's gonna be so nice. We've been trying to build this
150
ballroom.
years.
150 years." They just asked you.
Your man got clapped.
Hey, that's the same reason Drake just got his ass 50v1. You don't just witness your homie die, and then when you're asked about it, you just immediately start talking about your new renovation project. That is insane to me.
Insane.
And people have the nerve to be like, everyone grieves in their own way. That nigga grieves by building a ballroom? Because I believe there was also a clip of him at a Yankees game dancing. He's not sad. He don't care. Because this is nothing but talking points to them. Mm-hmm. This is nothing but an excuse to rile up his fan base to dang near give this nigga a third term. Mm-hmm. But y'all are so wrapped up in your own minds, because I truly think that, like a lot of things, you don't care until it personally affects you. And I think a lot of people witnessed Charlie Kirk die, and they were like, wow, he looks like me, and I kind of have the same viewpoints as him. Does that mean I can die? Regardless of if you are the next up-and-coming Charlie Kirk, you could be Adolf Hitler himself. That don't stop or increase your chances of dying in the United States of America. Niggas die every day, B.
Every day, B.
This is the United States of America. You know how many school shootings? Children. You know how many school shootings we had this year alone? There was an actual school shooting the day he got clapped. People, I was checking the stats on gun violence today. There's been 3 to 4 other gun-related deaths since September 11th. Nigga, it's the 12th. I don't see them flags any lower. They still at the half. I didn't see any flags get lowered for any of the other schools that got massacred, any of the churches that got massacred. George Floyd massacred, but you know what I did see? I saw Charlie Kirk making fun of George Floyd when he died. But now I have to listen to these same exact people talk about, I don't know, guys. It feels really weird with you celebrating death. And I think that's where we're getting it twisted for me a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't think a nigga making a meme of the killer doing the Bobby Shmurda dance, I think that is in a completely different realm of celebrating death in comparison to Kyle Rittenhouse becoming a national podcaster. And I'm blanking on his name, but the dude who killed Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, going on a tour run, signing merchandise,
selling the
fucking weapon he killed Trayvon Martin with. Yeah. Nigga, what the fuck is that? Y'all are unserious. You don't know what you want, you simple-brained little fucking child. That don't make no fucking sense.
I agree.
It really doesn't. And the fact that I had to dang near unfollow Dr. Umar because that nigga want to turn into to Obama. I know you said I can't talk about Obama no more. That nigga want to turn into Superman. I'm sorry, but I know they bombed an entire city, but if we kill him, we turn into them. And then he be in the same movie, a lady will pull up on Superman like, ah! The guy you let get away just killed my whole family. Oh my gosh, maybe I should have did something. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. What are we talking about?
We're gonna get to Umar because you left a comment under him.
We
and
don't have to expose.
I'm gonna get to it. But you said something very profound when we met earlier this week and talked about this Charlie Kirk situation. Again, we do not condone violence, but damn it, I'm gonna get to the Twitter. I'm gonna get to it being one of the top moments on Twitter history.
Yeah, don't condone violence, but we consume it on a daily basis. You said this, and I think it's it goes into what you're talking about with celebration versus wow, he died. This is kind of what I'm not going to say what he deserved, but what he put himself into. Everybody want to talk about mourning Charlie Kirk. You said this, but they don't want to play his greatest hits. Now, when Michael Jackson died, Xavier, what did people do? They started playing Billie Jean. Mm-hmm. Gonna be starting something. Mm-hmm. PYT. Mm-hmm. Elementary school. We graduated to This Is It.
This Is It.
Here I stand.
We Are the World. Mm-hmm. When Michael Jackson died, ladies and gentlemen, they start playing his greatest hits. Please explain to me why all of a sudden we mourning for somebody and y'all don't want to play his greatest hits. They have been trending online. But why don't y'all want to play what that man has been standing on for years and years and years?
I see all these people talking about how great of an American hero he was, but nobody wants to follow that up with a quote or a clip. Because if they did, the millions of people who had no idea who Charlie Kirk was before he died would be disgusted by what they're seeing in popular media. Mm-hmm. Y'all are treating him like a war hero. Mm-hmm. This nigga was a bigot. He was a racist. He was a homophobic. He was homophobic. Now I'm messing up my grammar. Homophobic, transphobic. All the phobias, all the isms. That nigga did it all. He was the GOAT.
He fit all the boxes.
All the check. He said, who can I hate? Put him in a corner. I hate your ass. He did all the things. And he was such a niche demographic. Conservative, right-wing, extreme commentary. So even if you are a Trump supporter, you might not necessarily know who Charlie Kirk was. If you're a Republican, you really might not necessarily know who Charlie Kirk is because he was that niche for that demographic for mostly a lot of young white men and getting them established and interested in conservatism and right-wing politics. So now when we see Fox News, the Associated Press, all these media sources start to mention what's his name? I'm gonna call him Christian Clark. Start to mention Charlie Kirk in sentiments with Martin Luther King.
Malcolm X
started making pictures with him and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, talking about you don't get killed for lying. The millions of people that had no idea about the things he stood for now are gonna look at the left and look at the people who are online that are not remorseful for his death. And we really just look like demons.
Xavier, that's what showed me how, like, we understand it. First of all, we seen it with the election and how much of a landslide Trump won by. But there's always constant reminders every now and then just how divided of a nation we are. And I think this Charlie Kirk death is nothing but a reminder of two separate worlds that we live in. They really hold this man as an icon, as a hero. I wanted to say this off pod to you, but I'm going to go ahead and say it on the pod. I was scrolling Twitter and I saw that his podcast did a tribute video for him today. So during the tribute video, I had to watch the clip. And the clip made me go to the YouTube I ain't gonna lie. Hey, Charlie Kirk, man. I'm gonna give you a view. This is my first time watching the Charlie Kirk podcast. I'm gonna give you a view, bro, for your family, bro. I'm gonna give you a view. I'm gonna actually watch some of your content for the first time after you unfortunately got clapped. But anyway, they left the chair open for him. So I want you, just in case I ever die or something happens to me, do a podcast and just leave this chair open and put the mic and set it up and everything. But anyway, to read the comments.
Oh yeah.
I'm a 66-year-old man, and I never cried over something like this. Rest in peace, one of the greatest men of this. We are so divided as a people. What's right to me is not right to another person. The same morals, values, and things that we hold on to, and y'all people call yourselves Christians, which is a whole nother topic for another day, because love is what God is, and you can't even love your neighbor. You can't love another minority. You can't love a person making another decision as you. So please tell me and explain to me how you are a Christian in that sense. You're not. How divided are we as a country, Xavier, where something like this happens and I can't even fathom that people actually believe in the stuff that they're saying. But that goes into an uneducated base that usually votes and aims more Republican.
I completely agree with you. And to answer your question of how divided we are as a country, we actually have an answer. Trump was asked in an interview of what the next steps are. How can we mend this country, seeing that we are so divided? And he said that he could care less about that.
I don't care.
The president of the United States said he could care less that the country is divided, and went on to say that the right is the party of love, essentially, and we are not violent people until something like this happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter what, all the things that the right has done, Trump really downplayed the right's fault in all the things that are going on, even though that the early reports are that the shooter actually literally was too right-wing.
Yeah,
like too conservative, to a point where he did not like Charlie Kirk. But that's the narrative that Trump will still spin, and that everything is on the Democrats. Now, I want to say this every video. I'm going to say this. I am not a Democrat, Xavier. I am not a Democrat person. That's the party that I have to go by, because do you see what the Republicans are doing? But I do not call myself a Democrat. At the same time, look at what the Republicans are doing. Look how they're spinning stuff. Look at what I truly do not understand. This man had a background, a Mormon family background. It says right here that the father of the 22-year-old charged in the Charlie Kirk killing saw the photos released by the authorities, confronted his son. Law enforcement sources told CBS News Robinson admitted to his dad that he was the person in the photos. His father urged him to turn himself in, but the son said he'd rather commit suicide, the sources said. The father called a pastor who knows the son. The pastor called the U.S. Marshals and other law enforcement agencies. Tyler Robinson is being held on aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, felony discharge of a firearm. First of all, like you said, he probably wasn't going to get caught. They didn't have no leads if the family didn't turn him in. But number two, this is the damn family he came from. This is the family he came from. Not a minority.
A Mormon white family in
Utah.
Father was they said, ex-military, a police officer,
yes,
and a Trump supporter.
This is what racism looks like, because it's white privilege that allows a motherfucker to say, I'm gonna go snipe that nigga and shoot him in his neck.
Is white
privilege. A black person is not doing that.
No, because before we knew who the shooter was, at least 5 HBCUs received threats.
Talk about it.
Because of Charlie Kirk's death. It didn't occur in any of the states of the HBCUs. Nobody even considered that it was a black person responsible for that shooting, but we still are the subject of violence just because we don't look sad enough for white people online. And now that we officially know that it's not an immigrant, he ain't gay for as far as we know, he's definitely not black. He is a white man from a white family, a Mormon family, in one of the whitest states in this country, a Trump supporter. Oh, and now they're turning heel. Oh, well, I think it was Israel. Or, well, he wasn't really registered Democrat or Republican, so he could have been anything. Where were all these excuses when we still didn't have a face to the case? But we were placing all the blames on minority groups. That is white privilege in itself. And then now we know it's a white person. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
You know what they're on now?
What?
They're on that subway. They're just demonizing a mental health case now. Terribly unfortunate it would happen, but they just found a black person that they can blame now.
This country is going through a lot right now. I don't know what the outcome of this will be. Trump has hinted in ways that he's going to keep secret in how he can run for a third term. These are conversations that are being had. We're in for a long 3 more years. Things like this put into perspective how divided we are as a people. And I don't know the outcome of the United States in the next 10 years. And to be a 27-year-old black man right now, with my whole life supposed to be in my hands, and the life ahead of me, and my best days forward, to look and see what's going on, the division, very, very challenging to try to look at the next 10 years and be positive about the outcome, especially what's going on in the country. So I don't know what more to do. We don't want to see anything like this happen again. I do not think that a sniper should shoot somebody at a college campus in the middle of the day. But I do also not condone things that came out of his mouth. I do believe that he brought this onto himself, and I did enjoy some of the memes.
I agree with Cayman. I never condone violence, but again, I feel like you can only say something for so many times before somebody checks you. Mm-hmm. And I think when you advocate for violence, you will eventually be met with that same violence. He was a staunch proponent of the Second Amendment, claiming on multiple occasions that gun violence and gun deaths are worth it, a necessity to have guns and to have the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. He advocated for public executions. You operate and promote such violence and hate, I don't really know what to say. I saw a popular quote going online right now is I never advocated for the death of Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk aggravated. I never advocated for the death of Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk advocated for the death of himself.
True that.
Because to this day, you ain't gonna catch me say nothing, but we need some gun control in this country. Mm-hmm. There should be no reason, like you said, no reason someone should be able to bring that high of a caliber weapon onto a college campus unchecked
and shoot somebody in the neck. Yeah. Before we get out of here, I'm going to read this Umar statement, and then I'm going to read your comment on one of the other posts.
I mean, I don't even like what I said anymore, but
while I do not agree with Mr. Kirk's rhetoric and consider him to be an anti-black bigot, I will never rejoice at the loss of life of anyone who hasn't directly participated in the unaliving of a member of the black African race. I am ashamed to see members of my community celebrating the situation this situation. I will never ask you to mourn the loss of an enemy of our race, but to celebrate an unaliving is completely unacceptable. We know all too well that the greatest recipients of political assassinations in this country have been our own people. Stop laughing at the misfortunes of others and get prepared. Political assassinations have returned to the United States of America, courtesy of the deep state. And somebody texted Dr. Umar this message, and he co-signed it, putting it on his story on Instagram. Thank you for your post on Kirk. Maturity and honor has become rare these days. If we laugh and mock our enemy's death, we become just like our enemy. We're supposed to fight with honor and respect. Thank you. You said in the comments underneath, that's the same ideology that Superman has that I despise. It puts an unfair weight on people to be the proper victim, and you kind of already explained that a Superman analogy, but I think your last phrase on this is powerful in what position black people have to bear in this country. It puts an unfair weight on people to be the proper victim. It seems as if black people always have to take the higher road and higher ground on things. It seems like we are hyper focused on how we react to things, even if it doesn't have anything to do with us. Just expound a little bit more on that statement that you said on that.
So in that statement, I don't, in a sense, completely disagree with everything Dr. Umar said. I just disagree with the fact that he said it at all. I feel like if that is his sentiment, then just keep that to yourself, because by you being who you are, by the strength of your voice, when you post something like that, you are directly targeting and identifying black people as part of the problem. We can't sit here and say that it's only black people, or predominantly black people even, making these memes online.
100%.
But to have a prominent figure, who we thought was a prominent radical figure like Dr. Umar, step out and say that, hey, you don't have to be remorseful, but no memes, don't do this, don't do that. We have to be respectful, we have to take the high ground, and it's just kind of like,
very Obama.
It's just seems a little tone deaf to me. Especially in the same vein of when you can mention of that black people are far too accustomed to the climate of political assassinations. They killed everyone and imprisoned the rest. So again, it just seems a little tone deaf that in this time he decides to single out black people. And I know some people can say, and he could say that I'm singling out black people because that is my target audience, that is my group. And that's exactly why I say that I think if that is what you feel, then you shouldn't have said anything. Just don't say anything. Because just like we mentioned, when Kamala, when her 107 days was running for president, and Obama decided to take some time to make a statement about how black people are not supported, or excuse me, how black men are not supportive enough, and how we don't support black women, that is just an unnecessary
statement at that time.
At that time that does nothing but continue to perpetuate this notion that black people don't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, that message is received completely different when it's coming from Obama. That message is received completely different when it's coming from Dr. Umar. Again, the proper victim to me is a mindset that I see used a lot of the times in like sexual assault cases, for a lot of sexual assault victims, that they're not allowed to hate or wish violence on someone who completely and utterly just, in a sense, changed the essence of their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
They have to keep it together. They have to only want good things for that person. And I mentioned that Superman statement because a lot of the times Superman will always have the same idea, or be confronted with the same notion that if I harm someone who has caused unimaginable harm to others, for some reason I become that person. And I just never understood that. Because to me, if I stood up to a bully and stopped him from bullying other people, how does that make me a bully? I feel like that would make me an emancipator, a freedom fighter, even. And in these films, a lot of the times with Superman, he'll have that idea. Oh, I can't harm others because I don't want to become them. Then he'll be confronted by a victim of another crime of the person he let go.
Mm-hmm.
Superman, how could you do this? My family would still be here if you took care of that person. Oh, maybe I should do this. Oh, maybe I should actually think about doing what those other people did to others. But then a lot of times in these movies, they'll just make the villains just completely and utterly unagreeable, to where it's like, I don't know how to say it, because I know what it is at the end of the day. These ain't nothing but human beings writing these stories. These ain't nothing but just white men involved in the same echo chambers and a part of the same just engine of this country. They're going to tell you these stories because they also want you to believe that you are not allowed to fight back. You are not allowed to want for change if that change requires you to post a Bobby Shmurda meme, post hummus. Again, I never wish for violence on anyone. Never condone violence on anyone. Take all these guns. Because if he would have to fight through that crowd, jump those fences to put the dukes up, this would look completely different. But so would their rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
They would have nobody to blame but themselves.
Yeah.
When does a racist ever take accountability for being racist? They don't.
Not even on their last breath, when the last thing that comes out of their mouth is gang violence. And there's been a genocide on the other side of the country that has been promoted by that side, that has been supported by that side. So just remember all those innocent lives that have been affected with that. Think about the innocent lives of black people that have been affected by the system, minorities, and the things that are going on right now under the Trump administration. But this is our BLAM news break. We gave you guys a breakdown of the breaking news that the killer was found. Tyler Robinson, family of conservatives from Utah, has been found in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So I would just say prayers to our country, and I don't know what's gonna happen next, but all we got is God, and I know that black people are always going to overcome whatever is thrown at us. So just so you guys know, with National Guards going to different cities, Memphis is next. Memphis has a very, very high population of black people in that city. We've seen what the National Guard has been in other places, how they have harassed citizens in those cities. So we already know what's going on, and let's let's come together. Let's talk to each other. I'm talking about the people that actually got sense in the world. That's the people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the crazy people. So yeah,
because we see where the National Guard is not going.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, y'all be safe out there.